Hey folks, how are you doing? Now, sorry about the delay in watching this. If you're watching live, I do apologize. But if you're watching on replay, thank you very, very much. And hey folks, how are you doing? Now, today we are going to be walking you through the art of being a standout guest. That bad boy there. Now, what this bad boy is a course that's got about 20 to 30 modules inside it. And this is just a selection of those modules. So basically what I'm going to be talking about is a few little bits to give you loads of hints and tips over the next half hour to basically give your experience as a podcast guest or a video guest a little bit more oomph, a little bit more passion, a little bit more pizzazz. So that's what we're going to be covering. Then after the presentation, we're going to be so the presentation will take about 20 minutes, half hour or so. After that, if you've got any questions, then please let me know. Put them in the comments and we can go from there. Now, there are other courses available, which you can see down the bottom there. Just go to growradio.uk and then you'll see all the courses available under the Learn tab. So let's kick things off, shall we? So basically, as I said before, half-hour presentation, half-hour Q&A, dead simple. So let's start off with crafting the perfect pitch. Oh, just by the way, if you haven't already, check out my free LinkedIn newsletter, which is available every day. I release a new bit of content which you can check out for free. I'll put the link in the comments later on. But we're going to be talking today about crafting the perfect pitch, power presentation, a one-page success plan, deliver sales pitch, deliver value, not a sales pitch. Art of storytelling, spreading the word, how to share your podcast appearance online, and also obviously any thank you and reflections that you have and I have at the end of it. So that's what we're going to be covering. So if that doesn't work for you, then thank you very much for watching. But if that does kind of appeal to you and you want to learn more, let's crack on. So to start off with, we're going to be talking about crafting the perfect pitch. Now, we all know that not all podcasters are born equal, and that some people just have it. They just know exactly what they want to say, and they know exactly how they want to say it. So this is where crafting the perfect pitch really comes in. Now, when it comes to crafting the perfect pitch, this normally refers to actually getting onto the podcast, which begs the question, what podcasts should you go on to? Now, when it comes to choosing the podcast, that's a whole different topic. However, the main thing is that you want to be in front of your target audience or the people who you can give value to. Now, if that's a business podcast, if that's a health podcast, if that is a social well-being podcast, doesn't matter. As long as it's in front of your market that you know that you can give value to, that is the main thing that you want to do. So crafting the perfect pitch is trying to get you, first of all, step one is to identify who you want to talk to and who has got that audience online. I'm just going to quickly clean my glasses whilst I'm talking. And then what you want to do is you want to then craft the perfect pitch. Now, this has got to be personalized. It can't be a one job fits all because every podcast host is different. And ideally, you need to personalize it to that particular podcast. And what I mean by that is, first of all, when you're researching the podcast you want to go on to, you want to listen to a few podcasts. You want to find some of the key themes that they talk about. And you want to figure out, actually, if I'm going to talk about this topic on this podcast, it's going to work. And that's when I mean personalization in terms of the pitch, that's what you want to do. So you want to start a pitch with saying, "Hi, Gary, how are you doing? I've been listening to your podcast for ages and loved this interview, and this interview. When I appear on podcasts, I normally talk about this, which would fit into your well-being and complement this episode and this episode that you put out. Is it worth having a chat about me being a podcast guest on your show?" Now, if you do that, if you receive that as a podcast host, you're going to know straight away that they have watched or listened to your show. And not just one show, multiple shows, which is great. You're also going to figure out, but actually you're also making it really easy for them to understand how you, as a guest, fits into their podcast. by you showing that it actually fits into this episode and against this episode here. So that works as well. So you're making it really, really easy for people to say yes. And that's what you want to do. You might also want to include in that pitch a few links to previous appearances that you've made. And that is absolutely golden, because then the podcast host, again, can watch those and see how you deliver the information. Does your speech pattern, does your mannerisms match up with theirs? They can check all that out by watching or listening. So when it comes to crafting the perfect pitch, it really is in 3 different parts. It's in that personalization. It's that showing that you can do it. And then the third part is making it easy for people to book you. Now, what I mean by that is there's no point going back and forth with someone if there's no point doing it. So the podcast host will say, yes, I want to get onto your show. Are you free on this date? Or they might go, oh, actually, I want some more information. So to make it easy for the podcast host to get that more information, you want to supply your social media links. You want to supply your calendar so they can have a chat with you, because most of them will want to have a chat before the actual interview itself. But all of this stuff you want to do so you can make sure that actually it works really, really, really well. It does. So crafting the perfect pitch is kind of threefold. It's all about personalization. It's all about making sure that actually you're in the right time, in the right place, and you've got that information available. And thirdly, it's about making it easy for them to say yes by giving them all the information they need. Next up is the power of the one success page plan. Now, this is pretty much a little bit kind of open-ended, if you want to. Because some people like it and some people don't. Some people think it's a great idea. Some people think it's a waste of time. But this is what I would recommend you doing, is making a one-page plan before you go on to a show, just to make sure you've got all your information all in one place. Now, this one-page plan, you might not refer to it during the interview, during the podcast, but you've got it to hand. So what you're going to have on this one-page plan is a bit of first section is going to be about the podcast you're going on to. So how you get onto the podcast, how long it's going to be, and some of the important information that you're going to need to know about that podcast, such as passwords, equipment needed, that kind of stuff. Use that as a checklist. Second bit is about your key messages, about your core themes that you want to actually put on to show on your podcast. These could be bullet pointed. These could be topics. You could include a link to a couple of stories. It all depends on what the podcast is. And this is where the preparation kind of kicks in beforehand. So the second bit is about the core themes. And then the third bit is about the call to actions. What do you want the people to do once they've listened to or watched your show? Now, this is the important bit that people miss out. And that is, they've been on this podcast, then what? And then they ask the question, they get asked the question. So, how can people find more information out? Have that planned out already. Because if you don't, you're going to be caught short, and that's what you don't want to do. So this is all about the power presentation of having a preparation, about having a one page success plan. One page just keeps it simple. You're not rustling pages. Keep it to bullet points, so therefore you can quickly look at it and can quickly kind of relate to it. And also that's handy if you already know what you're going to be talking about as well. If not, it might be a bit more vague. And as I said, you might not need it during it, but if you do, you've got it to hand. This is something that we always listen out for, and that is to deliver value, not a sales pitch. Nobody wants to go onto a podcast, and no one wants to listen to a podcast where it's just a sales pitch going on and on. No point to it at all. So you need to deliver value. You need to be able to deliver value and make sure that you have actually got all the information. And this goes back to the presentation, the preparation part as well. With knowing who you're targeting and knowing who you're talking to, you're going to be able to give them maximum value. So therefore, you can pick out the right stories to tell. You can tell the key points and make sure all the key points kind of correlate to those. This is what you want to do. So you want to deliver value, not a sales pitch. It's okay to mention your services once or twice throughout the interview, but don't keep them dropping your business. Don't keep mentioning that you got a book and it's in the book and it's chapter this. You want to be giving value. And the easiest way to do that is tell stories. If you tell stories rather than just facts, you're going to be onto a winner straight away. Now, I'm going to cut this webinar short. I'm going to go through the last couple of bits, and then I'm going to cut it short, I'm afraid, because I've just received some news that I need to deal with. But I'm going to be offering everyone a free 20-minute one-to-one if you would like to. If so, go down to the website and check and go to the contact us button where you can book in for a free 20-minute one-to-one. But let's carry on. So the art of storytelling is something that we really want to focus on. And as I said before, it's the best way of focusing on the storytelling aspect and giving value is to tell stories. Then you want to share the podcast interview across as many places as you can. Simple as that. Simple as that. Share it across your social media. Do a press release if you want to. Make sure it is everywhere where you want to go. And make sure it's in front of your ideal audiences. Now, I do apologize, but I'm going to have to cut it short there, I'm afraid, because I've just received some news that I need to deal with. So I do apologize. Thank you so much for being part of it. This is part of the podcast toolkit. So if you want to find out any more information, please do. You've got the launch guide, you've got the meetups happening next year as well. But as I said, go down to the website below and please book on for a free 20-minute chat so we can talk about more. Do apologize. Take care, my friends, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.